TV. I want to bring you the breaking news again. At 6 o'clock this evening, Buckingham Palace announced the King has been diagnosed with cancer. I'm now joined by talkTV legend, James Whale, who is, of course, facing his own cancer battle. James, a very good evening to you. Welcome to the Independent Republic.
Good evening to you, sir, as well, and everybody on Talk Radio and Talk TV together.
Yes, great to see you. You and I have been through many different encounters on various different shows over the years.
Yeah.
We did a great show last year, which was a sort of a culmination of your glorious career, which is, I'm glad to say, still going on. And, you know, today you must have thought of yourself, perhaps, and others when the announcement made by the Palace came out around about 6 o'clock that King Charles has got cancer, because it's one of those things that you know more than anyone. When you get told it, only you really know how that feels.
Yeah. Well, I've had that happen to me twice.
Yeah.
And today is the beginning of Kidney Cancer Awareness Week, which I am suffering with kidney cancer that has spread everywhere.
Right.
Sorry, I'm lounging around. I was just relaxing at home. The problem is that it depends how old you are and how you approach things. When I was first told, I was in my 40s, my late 40s, when I had kidney cancer. They took my kidney and the tumour out, and it didn't come back for 20 odd years. So it takes a bit of getting used to. When you're in your 70s, you probably can be a little more reflective of your life and think, well, it would be a lot worse if it happened when I had young children and stuff like that. Yeah. There's no easy way to tell somebody, you know, if I'm your doctor, Mike, and I come in and we've done some tests and I sit down with you and say, look, would you like me just to be very straight with you, or do you want me to go around the bushes? I bet you'll say, I want you to be straight. And I say, well, I've got to tell you that you have, let's say it's prostate cancer. And then you're a little bit of a shock and you think, oh my God, how long am I going to live? Is usually the first question anybody asks. And the doctor will probably say, I'm really at this stage not sure. You might trip down the stairs leaving the surgery.
Yeah.
And you make a bit of a joke about it. You have to think about it in that term. But you will, and I'm sure King Charles, because he's the sort of guy that can handle this sort of thing, will be very pragmatic. I'm sure in the next day or so, he will be revealing which cancer he has. The prostate, the bladder, and kidney cancer are all in the same sort of area. So it could have been one of those. He might even have the same cancer as me, for which, if he needs any help, I can direct him to Kidney Cancer UK's website.
Of course.
But I think a lot of people are frightened of the word cancer, and we don't use it enough. We're using it more, and I think it needs to be used more, and we need to talk about it a lot more, because 1 in 2 of us, right, will get cancer.
Right. Which is an incredible statistic. I mean, it used to be 1 in 4. It's now 1 in 2. We still don't really know much about how you get cancer. We still don't really know much about how anybody gets it in any different part of their body. Do you think that he should then be more elaborate about telling us exactly what kind of cancer it is? Do you think he should do that?
I think he will. Yeah, absolutely. He's revealed he has cancer. They've said it isn't prostate. And they will have found what they thought was cancer while they were, you know, looking at his prostate. So something came up in that area, I presume. And who knows, it might be something completely different. Of course, I'm not a doctor, as they say. But if it is in that area, the sort of cancer that I have, they thought I had a prostate cancer at one point and a bladder cancer at another. They ruled all of those out. The fact is that the majority of people get cancer, get it because we're living longer than we used to. But the terrible business is that children get cancer, and quite a lot of children get cancer, and nobody's quite sure why that is.
Yes. And what about how you tell your loved ones what you've been told by your doctor? Because, again, you'll have had to do that a few times in your life. I mean, that must be quite hard, even tougher in a way than being told by a doctor that you've got it, is you telling other people that you've got it.
I think you have, I mean, this is how I do it, or how I did it. I mean, I told them all, I rang them, everybody up and said, hey, guess what? I've got cancer. And I said, no, fine, we're looking at it, dealing with it, and sound up. Listen, I don't sound like I'm ill, do I?
No.
I look you know, overweight, ruddy-faced, and just normal.
You've always looked like
bloke in
that.
his- Yeah, well, of course, you and me both, you know. Um, um, uh, so it's very difficult. I've been told when I first had it, when it came back, I might make 6 months, I might make a year. That's nearly 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I have to put up with people saying, "Are you using it as a publicity stunt?" I can assure you I'm not.
No.
So I've got cancer in my lungs, in my head, in my back. Interesting thing, do you know, if you have a primary cancer, mine is kidney, do you know that kidney cancer is in my lungs? It's not lung cancer. I've got kidney tumours. When they spread, it's the tumour from the original cancer. I didn't know that.
It's incredible because, you know, I see you some days when you're not feeling quite as well as other days, but you must be in quite a lot of pain at times as well, because I think what people don't know who've never had cancer is how painful it can be.
It can be painful, and some days, and some, you know, I get really very tired, and try and rest up for my Saturday show. This week, I'm trying to do other things, and I'm doing your show later in this week, I think, and your fun show I'm talking about, and various other things, because it is Cancer Awareness Week. But if you treat it and you're frightened of the word and it'll get worse. I get, like last week, I had a really depressing week. I ached a lot. You get something called cancer fatigue, and it makes you very tired because your body is fighting the tumours. And I know, listen, I know I'm terminal, okay? I absolutely know I'm terminal, and I may get through this year, I may not. So you go with that in your mind, and if you're able and you feel fit enough, go out and do something you want to do, rather than mope around. I mean, I'm still waiting to have lunch with you, which we must do at some point, because you asked me, and you've got loads of money. So I've seen your car.
Yes. Listen, I promise I will take you out for lunch, but for now I have to leave you because I'm under very strict instructions, as you can imagine. This huge organisation that is the Independent Republic of Mike Graham. James, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
I'm wishing the King well.
Yes, of course, as are we all. And don't forget, we will be bringing you more on what's going on with the King coming up in the next hour, but also